Things may have changed in the Middle East during the last few years. However, the underlying forces of destruction and peace remain the same. I'm Gabriel Habib from the Middle East Council of Churches. This place reminds me of the various Middle Eastern predicaments. The church there symbolizes Christian presence despite of pressures on Christianity to leave this part of the world. The olive tree symbolizes the possibility of peace despite wars. The beautiful yellow flower symbolizes joy despite sadness and suffering. This film is a celebration of life. The life of the 12 to 14 million Christians who are continuing since Pentecost in this part of the world. In Syria, people there are proud of the fact that many still speak Aramaic, the language of Jesus Christ. In Egypt, they still remember that they have been visited by the Holy Family and that this visit has impacted their spirituality. In Jerusalem, we see that people are receiving in the streets Jesus Christ like at Palm Sunday. In their collective memory, they are aware of the fact that they relate to Jesus Christ, who was incarnate in this part of the world, not by accident. He was incarnate in the midst of contradiction and destruction to give us the possibility of unity, reconciliation, and peace.
After the death and resurrection of Jesus, the gospel was spread along the trade routes of the Roman Empire, and Christian congregations were formed. In the middle of the 4th century, this church was built in northern Syria. Christianity became a recognized religion.
Our church is Syrian Orthodox Church. It's the Church of Antioch, which was established by St. Peter, the chief of the apostles. We still use in our liturgical services the language of our Lord Jesus Christ, Syria. Abund veshmayo nezqadashmo tise malkuso nehwes biono ay kanad veshmayo var'o lan lahmo sonqonaniyo mono washbuqlan hawbain wahtohain.
In the first centuries, controversies about theological matters arose among the Christians, and they were divided into different churches. At the end of the 6th century, during the decline of the Roman Empire, Muhammad the Prophet came from the desert in the south with a new faith. The Prophet was a great spiritual and political leader. His religion was Islam, his language Arabic. In 636 he conquered Jerusalem, and soon most of the Middle East and Northern Africa was Islamic. In the 11th century, Christian rulers in the West gathered armed forces, the Crusaders, and announced expeditions to the Middle East. The target, they said, was to save the Holy Sepulchre and Jerusalem from the Muslim conqueror. However, these Crusaders soon diverted their expeditions against Eastern Christians. This resulted in further divisions between Eastern and Western Christianity. In the late 19th and early 20th centuries, the European powers intervened in the Middle East, pursuing economic and political interests. This coincided with Western Christian mission in the region. Very important services were rendered by these Western Christian missionaries in the field of social, cultural, and medical development. However, through their proselytism, they also caused further divisions among the Christians in the Middle East. We all know about the human sufferings in the Middle East today due to conflicts between people, violations of human rights, and intervention of the international powers, all conducive to violence and physical and moral destruction. Yet daily life continues in this area where the Oriental way of living meets the Western lifestyle. Mr. Naza lives with his family in Damascus, in Syria. He runs a travel agency.
As I am a Christian man and I'm living here in Syria, I feel that I am living with my friends, my parents, all together. For example, in my office, I have many employees. Most of them are Muslim. It means that we are living all together as friends.
Mr. Naza's wife has an antenatal clinic.
Alors, le christianisme, pour moi, c'est un don continuel de soi, un don continu et un amour infini. Un amour pour toutes les personnes humaines, pour ma famille et pour les gens qui m'entourent. C'est le plus important.
On their way home, they drive past the wall of the old city of Damascus. It was right here, according to the Acts of the Apostles, that St. Paul escaped through a window. The Lord said to Ananias, "Go, this man is my chosen instrument to carry my name before the Gentiles and their kings and before the people of Israel. I will show him how much he must suffer for my name." In spite of many tribulations and sufferings throughout their history, the Christians are still here. But what will their future be?
Alors, c'est un peu l'avenir qui nous inquiète. L'avenir plein de force et de bagarres qui attend peut-être nos enfants. Et nous ne savons plus quoi donner à nos enfants. L'amour ou leur donner, leur inculper la force.
I celebrated Christmas Mass in one of our churches in Baghdad, St. Mary Church. After the celebration, I began to give the Holy Communion. I started from 6:30 a.m. till 11:30. In one church, people coming, praying, please God, avoid us this war. We can face the hunger. We can face any difficulties, but not war.
Christians, as you know, in this part of the world, have faced choices. One, to leave, and they haven't left. The second is to adopt political power to assert their identity. Finally, they overcome it. And thirdly, to adopt the power of sacrificial love to make them become like the salt and the leaven, perhaps to give themselves in sacrifice for the salvation not only of themselves, but all the people of the area.
When I was teaching religion at our school here, and I told them the story of Exodus as I've learned it in the university. One young 12 years old boy stand and he told me, Pastor, this is not the story of the Hebrew people. I asked him why. He told me it's our story. It's actually because we are sharing the same suffering like the Hebrews in Egypt. And then he asked me the question, who is Moses? Who can play the role of Moses today? And I asked him, maybe you, but I think the church has to play the role of Moses today in the Palestinian society, to stand up, to go to Pharaoh and to tell him, to the Israeli government, and to tell him, let my people go.
Throughout their history, people of the Middle East have experienced suffering. Today, many have a good life, but thousands and thousands of them, Christians and Muslims, are forced to live as refugees. An angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream and said, "Get up, take the child and his mother, and escape to Egypt. Stay there until I tell you, for Herod is going to search for the child to kill him."
The faith of the Christians here is in Jesus Christ, the incarnate. It is therefore expressed through their culture and through their history. It is expressed through the action of the community and through symbols that takes them back in time to the origin of their faith without losing sight of the presence and the future. This is how we understand the scene of baptism in our film in taking place in Beni Suef in Egypt.
Once a year, people assemble here in a village built up around an old monastery belonging to the Coptic Church in Egypt. They come to rejoice because the Holy Family was here.
They believe that, like Jesus, when he laid his hands on the children, that we should lay our hands on them and bless them. But it's not only the hands. We lay the cross we hold the cross and we lay our hands on them. Now, people come here to pray or to enjoy. It's a religious recreation. It's a recreation together with meditation.
The churches in the Middle East were founded by the apostles. Even if they can show an unbroken unity with the first Christians, there have been, through their history, controversies and divisions. The Assyrian Church of the East, the Orthodox churches, such as the Syrian, Armenian, Coptic, Greek Arab, the Catholic Church, including Maronites, and the Protestant churches, all of them are here in the Middle East, forming more than 12 million Christians.
Christians here are trying to move from a past of division caused by the interventions of political powers and the philosophers to a future in unity as a response to the gospel calling to be one as he and his Father are one. Because how can Christians say to people around them, love each other, reconcile, have peace with each other, and they do not have the minimum of love and unity and peace required among themselves?
Today, the Middle East Council of Churches is the ecumenical body which is trying to promote unity among all the churches and Christians in the Middle East and facilitate their cooperation in service, education, publication, and other fields of Christian witness. Monastic life through prayers, contemplation, reading or painting icons, as well as service, is enriching the Christian life and ministry in the area.
Service seems to be the most privileged form of witness in this part of the world. Serving the human being, all the human being, and all human beings, regardless of their religious, ethnic, or cultural backgrounds. Christians, through the corporate action of the Middle East Council of Churches are demonstrating that the human being cannot be sacrificed on the altar of tensions between political leaders or between states or nations. The human being in this part of the world has to be saved through humble service. When you are a minority in a religiously structured society, you don't convince people of your faith, about your faith. You live it. You serve the human being, whoever the human being are, from whatever culture, whatever ethnic or religious background.
Well, I just arrived to our hospital, which is the Ahli Arab Hospital, run by the Anglican Church of Jerusalem, and to find out that there is turmoil in town and in the camps, and we have been receiving now casualties.
We have witnessed in one day the admission of 20 casualties. One young fellow, 16 years of age, arrived already dead by a bullet that went through his heart.
Insecurity for the Israelis is leading them to increase their might and arms. For the Palestinians, this increases their fear for another exodus.
Six students, female students, young girls under the age of 16, were beaten by sticks with an iron edge, and we saw the bleeding and the breakage of their bones in their feet, lower part of their legs. And the suffering is going on and on with tear gas, with burnt tires, stones, and soldiers using violence and extreme violence to try and stop this. This is an unfortunate situation which demands that all of us work for peace and justice for all peoples in this area.
We are not keeping silence. It's time to speak. It's time to remind everybody that we are looking for justice and peace. It's time that the church tells other churches in the world what's going on inside this country.
When I see soldiers on the West Bank beating up boys, my heart cries with anguish, not only for our children, but for these soldiers, because I feel they are victims of a dehumanizing regime.
Expropriation of Arab land and erection of more Jewish settlements in Jerusalem and the West Bank are continuing in defiance of all international laws and decisions. The Palestinians continue to see their houses destroyed, as well as their hopes in national rights and peace.
They come at 9:30 in this morning to do that. There's several rooms and several houses, and even they destroy it, and they still have their stuff inside the house that they destroy. And we asked them why they did it. They said, because there is a flag. There is a black flag.
And our home, why? Why? We want it free. We want Israel to go from our country.
you know, Islam can fulfill all the daily activity for everyone. To establish an Islamic state is our goal. The source of these religions the source is the same. It is an Allah orders. But the Christian and the Jewish religions actually shifted away from the original one. But the Islam as a religion is never changed. Now we are just looking for a government, an Islamic government, then the Islamic State will be established.
The Christians of Palestine are celebrating Palm Sunday. It's a kind of demonstration that Christian Palestinians still exist in Palestine. It's more than just a ceremonial procession showing the way where Christ rode on Palm Sunday from Beit Faji down to Jerusalem. It shows the Christian Palestinian presence in the Holy Land.
Will the Christians in Jerusalem, through their suffering and their ministry of reconciliation, lead the people of the Holy Land to new hope in the resurrected Christ, giver of love and peace to the whole world?
Despite destructions, despite challenges faced by us Christians here, we still look at the future with hope. Because we are related to the Jesus Christ, the Alpha, the beginning of things, we cannot but in him be hopeful about the future. What can we expect from Christians abroad? I think first of all we should say, come and see. Then discern the continuity of life through the Christian presence in this part of the world. Discern the power of the Holy Spirit despite the weaknesses of the Christian community. Then do not relate to this part of the world through wars or peace at the expense of the Christians here. And finally, be in solidarity with them. Be in partnership with them in order to enable them to witness, not on their behalf only, but on behalf of the Church Universal. Come and see.
أنا بكل قوة وبكل جرأة بقول إنه السلام شيء بنقدر نحققه والشيء شيء بيصير بس المهم إنه نحن نريد